Now here you are coming off of a successful U.S. Open tournament, getting set to call Monday Night Football between the Giants and the Steelers. How did you prepare for this, doing all that, what you've done? Like, walk me through it, Chris.
Right down to the first tee. I mean, it'll be it's a lot, man. You know the mountain of information at your disposal. I thought we got a lot of it in college. It's beyond in the NFL. So you're sifting and sorting and discarding and figuring out how not to smother a telecast. I mean, my tendency probably is to over-prepare and overplay. So I'll try to guard against that tonight. But it's been a process over the month. You try to like get ready for it. But then what I didn't realize, Rich, there's about half the players on an NFL board, right? So it should be easier.
Right.
But the fluidity of the roster is right down to the last minute. You don't have that in college, right? You don't sign a dude who's on the field 5 days later starting against the Steelers. The Giants roster in particular, as you probably know, is just very fluid, but there's so many new faces. And so I try to get ready, but it's going to take every minute I've got, and then we're just going to have it's sort of a one-off. It's the one game we'll do this year, and it's really cool for me to see guys that I got to know in college, and you follow them through that draft night, and you're proud of what they did in a detached way, but you feel like you get to know them, and so it's really cool to reconnect with guys like T.J. Watt and Dexter Lawrence and Jabril Peppers and Saquon Barkley. I mean, these are guys that we got to know pretty well. And now these guys talk as very mature men and veterans of the league. It's Kirk and I both feel the same way, and Maria as well. It's fun. We're going to enjoy that aspect of it tonight.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, did you go back to some of your Saquon notes from Penn State games, or even your college game day, maybe with Miami of Ohio on the schedule with Big Ben from 2003? Did you go into your archives in prep for tonight?
Ben was laughing. Ben said he was more nervous for this game tonight because obviously missing last year and not wanting to let the teammates down than he has been since the MAC championship game, which he was in college, which Kirk, I think, was broadcasting. So we were having a laugh about that. But no, I think I would be idiotic to sit there and start spinning old tales about dudes, what they did in college. I mean, these guys are pros. Our audience expects us to refer to them as pro football players. I mean, it's inevitable that we're going to have an anecdote or two because I think it's interesting, but we're not going to overdo that for sure.
Did you Zoom with Joe Judge in between U.S. Open tennis matches? Did you do something like that, Chris?
My day yesterday was Zoomed with the Giant players in the morning before I left for the stadium.
Yeah.
Set up in the booth before the final for the Joe Judge Zoom. Called the final. During the match, the Steelers Zooms were recorded. Unfortunately, I couldn't be a part of that. But then went home at night after the final, tried to decompress and listen to all the Zoom calls from Tomlin, Ben, Connor, all the Pittsburgh players. It was quite a day, I promise you.
Well, and of course, as you're trying to prepare for Monday night, Chris, you get the first U.S. Open champion in 71 years to come from the first two sets down, like Team did. So you got that going for you.
Exactly. I'm thinking when it's like 2 sets to low, 4-all, Zverev with 6 points from winning, I think, okay, this is going to be a crap final. It's going to be remembered as a bad final, but at least I'll have a few more hours to prep. But you can't get caught. 3 hours later, this is a pretty damn memorable final, and I just lost 3 hours. But, listen, you want to always call great matches.
Of course.
When the final of a tournament is a dud, it's just poor punctuation for the event. There's so much went into staging this U.S. Open. I mean, against all odds, it actually came off really well. People did not get infected. The safety record was really good. I'm glad we got a final that, if not aesthetically pleasing throughout, at least was dramatic at the end, and two guys who could barely walk or stand up kind of emptying the bucket. That's kind of cool to see.
Chris Fowler, a couple more minutes left with Chris before he goes into MetLife and calls the Giants and the Steelers tonight. What a fun matchup that's going to be, and I can't wait to sit down and watch it.
I hope so. I hope the Giants can hang with them, frankly. I have some concerns, but if we get a great game, that's a bonus.
Well, I mean, again, and seeing what Big Ben looks like, Chris, obviously that is a monster storyline for 2020. If the Big Ben that we have come to know as a first ballot surefire Hall of Famer shows up and starts winging it around, and Juju Smith-Schuster from 2018 starts materializing on the screen, then we may have a different AFC that we're talking about. That's what we're talking about there.
Yeah, I know everybody's given the division of Baltimore, but a lot of folks at Kirk and others who've been diving into Pittsburgh, if exactly what you said happens, they're not only a surefire playoff team. A lot of people think they can go deep in the playoffs. But we'll see. It'll be fun to watch tonight for sure.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.